And that'll do it. Oh my God, this thing is going to fall over. Should I just push it? It'll make for good content, right? Here it goes. This is Cultured. Do me a solid. Click the subscribe button down below or go to our website, tmt.media. Lots of goodies on there. I'm sure you'd enjoy them. So Mr. Shailene Woodley himself, Aaron Rodgers, decided to take a break from counting his MVP trophies this week to guest host Jeopardy.
In the 1960s, these Midwesterners earned 5 NFL championship trophies. Green Bay Packers?
And now America's favorite quiz show is back in the news, and I thought what a marvelous opportunity to reach back into the dark recesses of my childhood and explore my love of game shows. Let's take a trip all the way back to the year of our Lord, 2005, when Nico was a mere 10 years old. Most of my peers were obsessed with the things that you're supposed to be obsessed with. Baseball, Call of Duty, Eminem, girls. No, it was Bob Barker, it was Richard Dawson, and it was Wink Martindale. I was convinced, sure as day, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, that when I grew older, I would become a game show host. I oriented my entire existence around this single pursuit. You don't understand. I watched every single game show I could get my hands on, 1940s to 2000s. I would study these shows. I would study the people hosting them. And eventually, I would gather my entire extended family in the living room and put on elaborate productions of Family Feud, Password, you name it. And the stuff. I had so much stuff. I wasn't asking my parents for the latest Linkin Park album. I wasn't asking for tickets to the latest Green Day concert. I just wanted game show memorabilia. In fact, I gathered all of that stuff to show to you. Here's the evidence. Deal or No Deal, DVD game. Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, DVD game. Price is Right Volume 1, Price is Right Volume 2. And don't think I forgot about the electronic tabletop game either. You can play Plinko in this thing. Check it out. Friends going out to the bowling alley? I'm dropping Plinko balls on a Friday night. $1 Million Password, short-lived game show hosted by Regis. So much dust on this. Another password game. I think it's from the Reagan administration, and it definitely contains trace amounts of asbestos. 1 versus 100 DVD game. My 100 closest friends in this box right here. And if those 100 weren't enough, here's the tabletop version. This next collection might be triggering. Family Feud card game. Family Feud DVD game. Family Feud DVD game 2nd edition. Family Feud DVD game 3rd edition. And more feuding with your family in the tabletop version hosted by John O'Hurley. Lingo with everyone's favorite political commentator, Chuck Woolry. Press your luck for the TV. No whammies. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire for the DVD players? Remember DVD players? What a time. Let's Make a Deal. Monty Hall. The Moment of Truth. Short-lived Fox game show where couples essentially admitted to cheating on each other. I think that was the whole conceit. I don't know why they thought to make a home version, but I have it. And I'm sure it will ruin my marriage someday, too. Here's another password. Oh, Bingo America. Short-lived game show network show hosted by Richard Karn, one of my favorites. Wheel of Fortune board game. Wheel of Fortune plug-and-play TV game. Remember these things? This one was cool. Win, lose, or draw. You could draw on like a tablet before iPads were a thing, and it would show up on the TV. Again, so much dust on this thing. God, this thing is filthy. You know, a lot of people think that the coronavirus started in a lab in Wuhan. No, my bedroom with all of my board games. God, this is the lamest version of Jenga. Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader board game? I'm sorry if the dust is blowing in the camera. This is disgusting. The Singing Bee, hosted by Joey Fatone on NBC. Don't forget the lyrics, Fox Show, Minute to Win It card game, Guy Fieri. And then we've got this bad boy, Deal or No Deal t-shirt. This thing fit me when George W. Bush was president. Great for going out to the club. I won't tell you which club, though. Here's my old Snuggie. Not game show related, but I thought it was amusing. Oh, this is a classic. Game Show Network clock. It can't tell time, but it can tell if you're a virgin. Here's an old Game Show Network water bottle. The world needs more winners. Just not you. Here's an old school Game Show Network buzzer. Not sure what sound it made. Doesn't work anymore, but I paid a lot of money for it. And then the granddaddy of them all, the Encyclopedia of TV Game Shows, second edition. I don't know how many editions they made. I ordered this thing on eBay. It was previously owned by Westminster Public Library in Westminster, Colorado. The thing was printed in 1996 and is a written record of every single game show ever aired on American television. I brought this thing to school one day, 6th grade, as kids were reading, I presume, the Harry Potter books, the Nancy Drew books. I was reading this bad boy. When the teachers are making fun of you for your book selection in middle school, you know you have a problem. And that'll do it. Oh my God, this thing is going to fall over. Should I just push it? It'll make for good content, right? Oh, I'm definitely going to break something. Here it goes. I hope you enjoyed that. There are now board games just covering the floor in this office, but I'll soldier on. So that's what I was doing at 10. Not chasing girls, not playing Little League. I was watching the Game Show Network and learning all about erectile dysfunction and psoriatic arthritis. And by the way, this is not an exhaustive search. There was more, lots more. And I only show it to you for 2 reasons. 1, I'm hoping a memorabilia collector stumbles upon this video and cuts me a check for all of this garbage, because I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And 2, to prove my bona fides. Understand this. I care more about the game show genre than anyone you will ever meet. So when I say this, I say it from a position of authority. Y'all need to chill out with Jeopardy, okay? I am speaking as someone who has spent more time watching Jeopardy than any other cultural product, film, television, or otherwise. I understand this format better than my own psyche, but you've taken it too far. And I know this because I once took it too far. So here's the story. When Alex Trebek died this November, it didn't seem like Jeopardy had much of a game plan, which is very puzzling considering that the man has been dying of pancreatic cancer in front of our very eyes for a year and a half. When the news broke, the show announced that it would be cycling through a number of guest hosts before arriving at a final decision at the end of the season. And this has gone about as well as a buffet at a Buddhist monastery, which is to say, not at all. Let me quote the Wall Street Journal's John Anderson in a recent piece he wrote about Jeopardy. Quote, "This decades-old program is on the road to rating suicide by compromising its brand, alienating legions of loyal fans, and giving temp work to guest hosts who come to praise Alex Trebek and bury his legacy." The first of these guest hosts was the heir apparent, Ken Jennings, who was brought on as an executive producer this fall. He hosted the show for 6 weeks, I thought to modest success. Then Jeopardy producer Mike Richards took over for 2 weeks. Again, I thought a decent replacement. And this is when it sort of went off the rails. Katie Couric took over the show for 2 weeks, brought a very enthusiastic energy to the proceedings. I would not call this energy Jeopardy energy, and she received a lot of hate on Twitter because of it. Then it was time for the fake doctor, Dr. Oz, to appear on the show for 2 weeks. And this, of course, erupted into a major social media controversy. You literally had contestants who appeared on the Dr. Oz episodes urging viewers not to watch the show because they didn't want to support Dr. Oz. Insane stuff. Now, you might say that this is just social media noise. After all, Jeopardy fans are a persnickety bunch. But the outrage has apparently bore out in the ratings. The latest Nielsen report has Jeopardy at a 5.3 household rating. That's down from 6.6 all the way back in January during Alex Trebek's final episodes. It's also the first time in over a year that Jeopardy has lost the top spot to Family Feud. Now, the context here, of course, is important. Ratings for Jeopardy skyrocketed after Alex Trebek's death. Viewers were eager to watch his final batch of episodes, knowing that they wouldn't have an opportunity to watch Alex Trebek's Jeopardy again. And you've got to keep in mind that over the past 2 years, Jeopardy has enjoyed a ridiculous cultural resurgence. 2 years ago, there was the James Holzhauer run. Last year was the greatest of all time tournament. The numbers were unusually large to begin with, so you would expect a little bit of a pullback. The context here matters, no doubt. But still, the ratings since January have been declining at a fairly steep rate, and that is not insignificant. Now enter Aaron Rodgers, who's currently in the middle of his 2-week stint. Rodgers has expressed publicly that he's interested in taking over the job full-time. America's favorite sports commentator, Stephen A. Smith, has also endorsed this decision. Apparently, Stephen A. wants Aaron to quit football a sport in which he just won Most Valuable Player in order to pursue a career as a game show host.
He'd attract a younger audience, he'd attract females, he'd attract younger males as well. If he does this right, Aaron Rodgers can make more money hosting Jeopardy than he made playing football. I'd consider it.
More of this hard-hitting analysis on First Take, 10 a.m. Monday through Friday on ESPN. Look, I don't doubt his intentions here. I'm sure he's very serious about taking over this job. And as long as Tom Brady stays away from Wheel of Fortune, it'll work out okay. But seriously, he's serviceable. He's okay. A little dull for my taste, I'm not gonna lie, but he's fine. And that's the bottom line. They've all been fine. Guys, it's not Othello, it's Jeopardy. As long as you can smile, read prompter, do simple addition, the floor for success is very high. And that's by design. Game shows are meant to be replicated. It's why ABC has spent the last 3 years rebooting every 70s and 80s game show format, rather than investing in another hospital drama about horny nurses. The structure of the game is genetically engineered every so often to inject a little bit of serotonin into your brains, no matter who's in front of the camera. And look, I worshipped Alex Trebek. He was one of my heroes, undisputed GOAT. There will not be a better game show host, at least in my lifetime. But don't forget, part of his greatness was how inconspicuous he was. A lot of times when a traditional entertainer like Alec Baldwin or Steve Harvey will host a game show, they have a tendency to make themselves the center of attention. Not Alex Trebek. He was very careful not to make the show all about him. And that was one of my main problems when media outlets wrote these lionizing obituaries about Alex back in November. Let me read one from the New York Times. Quote, "But there is something especially poignant now about saying goodbye to Trebek because of what his show represented. A place of empirical, uncontested truth in the media. On Jeopardy, after all, there were not alternative facts, only actual ones." Here's another headline. "As truth is undermined by spin, we will miss Alex Trebek seeking the one right answer." Barf. The dude wasn't Cronkite. He was a game show host, an excellent game show host, and a great steward of a great television format, but still just a game show host. And that should be enough to celebrate. And now we're doing it again. We're turning Jeopardy into a symbol for something it never was. We don't like Dr. Oz's opinions on hydroxychloroquine, so now we're going to act like the Notre Dame Cathedral is burning, or the ArcLight has closed down. Oof. The point is, all this vitriol surrounding Jeopardy is not meant for a syndicated daytime game show. But the outrage seems to be striking a chord in households all over the country, and the ratings are definitely falling. So what the hell is going on here? Of course, I have a theory. And it doesn't just get at the core of Jeopardy, it gets at the core of the entire television medium. TV is a people business, and as networks abandon this philosophy, the people will abandon them. Here's what we know. For the past decade, television ratings have been declining across both the networks and cable. There are no exceptions to this. Only shows that have declined at a less steep rate. What are those shows? Procedural crime dramas, like NCIS, daytime television, like Judge Judy, cable news, Fox, MSNBC, CNN, NFL football, and other sports. Basically, it's the stuff you watch live or the stuff you watch in a retirement home. And we all understand that the internet is to blame for most of this. Netflix has changed the distribution model. People are moving from cable to streaming services at massive rates. Then you've got YouTube and TikTok generating millions of views a day. There has never been a greater competition for eyeballs. We now have potentially an entire generation growing up without linear television. PewDiePie and Ninja are their Letterman and Leno. So yes, it's a matter of technology. Yes, it's a matter of culture. Yes, it's a matter of demographics. But there's more to that. I know COVID is bad, but 15% of Jeopardy's audience didn't die in the last 4 months. This is a problem that affects the old and the young alike. During the golden age of television, networks have shifted their focus to limited series, other short-form, headline-grabbing shows, and the audience has become less engaged. There are, of course, some exceptions. Tiger King and The Queen's Gambit were the two biggest shows of 2020. Both are limited series. You're not going to see a season 2. But the shows that win Emmys, the shows that people are tweeting about, are not the shows that people are actually watching. Look at the clip of the contestant that roasted Aaron Rodgers for losing the NFC Championship game.
Over to our two-day champion on the end. Scott, did you come up with the correct response? Who wanted to kick that field goal?
Major moment on Twitter generated headlines, did not translate into ratings. Networks are putting a premium on what's viral when they should be putting a premium on what's familiar. Television used to be a revolving door. When one legend would die, when one institution would go away, another one would rise up in its place. But old media institutions are not replenishing the farm system. It's the new media institutions that are doing that work. Look at the YouTubers that you watch, the podcasters that you listen to. We continue to follow these personalities for the same reason we used to watch Jeopardy every night, because they bring us comfort. So yes, television is losing the battle to Netflix, and there's nothing they can do about that. But in the process, they've abandoned their greatest asset: familiarity. This is one of the things that went missing when television started chasing movies 20 years ago, when you started hearing the word cinematic thrown around to describe a Netflix limited series. Movies are engineered to make a splash. They're supposed to generate box office and word of mouth. The best television shows are built to last for 5 to 7 seasons, sometimes longer. And that's why, in my opinion, the best shows of the last 20 years, Sopranos, Mad Men, Succession, are shows that don't throw away the conventions of television. It might look like a movie, it might be budgeted like a movie, but it's still television. And the shows that lean into that are rewarded for it. And look, maybe studios don't care about ratings. It's certainly an outdated metric. Maybe the producers of Jeopardy are totally fine with you binge watching the Alex Trebek episodes on Netflix. The truth is, none of us have all the answers. Not me, and not the minds behind Jeopardy. In fact, the only guy that did isn't with us anymore. I just hope that we can all figure it out without him. This is Cultured. We'll see you next week.